Welcome to Gentler Yoga. You're going to need a strap today. If you don't have a strap at home that's a yoga strap, real quick, maybe you could go grab your dog's leash or a long scarf or belt. And then if you have a block or something that you could use like a block, it could just be a firm pillow or a book, a big book, something like that. Not necessary for the block, but if you can grab something to use for a strap, that would be really great. And so we'll start our practice today down on our mats, lying down, and you'll keep your strap close by, and if you have the block, you'll keep it towards the end of the mat, where your feet are going to be. So just go ahead and come on and lie down on your back. And just place the soles of the feet to the earth to start. And close your eyes. And just begin to let your breath settle down. Whatever's already transpired in your day and your week, begin to let it go. And just begin to pull inward towards your inner essence. And at the core of who we are, it is unconditional love. And sometimes we need to practice, sometimes we need to connect to this unconditional love, but it exists. And as we breathe here, I'd like you to imagine your breath is like a circular motion here through the body. And just let the breath move up one side of the body and down the other. And imagine this circle. Maybe even you could think of a nice lavender light. And just kind of let the breath be represented by this lavender circle of light. You can almost feel as the breath would come in one nostril and out the other. So it circles, unending. Imagine that breath reaching every cell of your body here. Imagine that unconditional love that resides in you reaching every cell of your body. And just breathe here. Breathe into this idea of you are love. In a world that sometimes looks like there's not much love left, what can we do? How will we show up? It takes practice. So one of the beautiful things about coming to our mat is not just our physical benefits, but the time we can really connect to our higher selves and think about how we want to show up off of our mats in our lives. Maybe even bringing to mind now just a situation where you feel like I could have done something differently there. And without beating yourself up or judging, just imagine acting in an increased level of love and compassion, understanding. And take a couple more circular breaths here, and then we're going to begin to stretch out these legs, get longer. Nice. Grab your strap. Bend your right knee, pull it in towards your chest. Place the strap around the right leg. And just extend the right leg up into the air. We're going to work with what we call effort and ease today. So you might have done something similar with the strap stretches, but maybe not with effort and ease. So if you haven't done this before, we'll just take a moment to get a little bit acquainted with what we mean here. So if I'm just holding my leg in the strap and I'm just kind of hanging out here, we'll call this ease. And if I push my foot into the strap and I pull the strap back towards me and I really engage this stretch, we'll call that effort. And you can feel that there's a little micro bend in the knee almost as we come to the difference between ease. And then when we go to effort, it kind of stretches out and the little micro bend maybe goes away. So let's go ahead with our right leg raised in the air. And if you'd like to extend your left leg down the mat, you certainly can. And let's just begin to breathe into effort and ease. So take a nice inhale breath while you're at ease. And then exhale, push into effort. Stretch that foot up into the strap, pull it back. And then begin to ease off. And do it again. Effort, press, press, press. Ease off. Good. Let's do a couple more, just like that. You might even find on the effort phase, this last one, maybe pull that strap back towards you a little bit more. Perfect. All right, place both straps into the right hand, left hand onto the left hip bone. Stretch your right leg to the right and make sure you find a balance here where your hips stay steady. You're not rolling to the right. And begin again. This one might be a little bit more intense to find effort and ease. So we've got that arm glued down to the floor for our support here, holding the strap, and then push out into the strap. Give it your effort. And then ease off. Let the muscular tension kind of ease back. And then stretch out into that strap. Good. Let's do just a couple more here. Excellent. And then we'll bring it back to center. This is one of my favorite stretches for the leg. We're going to keep the strap in the right hand. Make sure your right glute and hip stay glued down to the floor. So we're not going into spinal twist. We don't want the right hip to leave. But we do want the right leg to come across the body to the left as far as you can until you feel that tug. For me, it's only going to be maybe 6 to 12 inches. And then I'm going to start to feel that big tug down into the deepest tissues there. And you can, again, exercise some effort, pressing out into the strap, and then some ease and just letting it pull back. A couple more times. Good. Good. Bring it back to center and just allow a few little circles here. You can use the strap to hold the leg, hold the foot, and just circle around. Open up your hip a little bit. Move the other direction. Fantastic. Open up the strap so that it's in both hands. Rise your left foot up into the strap as you release the right foot. And you can start with knee bent, or you can go ahead and straighten the leg. Hold the strap or whatever you're using in both hands, and let's look for effort and ease again. So pushing out into the strap, working on the stretch, so to speak, and then just allowing the stretch as you back off. Yes. Keep moving through that effort and ease, about every breath here. Notice which you prefer. Do you prefer to give that extra effort into the stretch? Or do you kind of prefer just to kind of ease into it? There's no wrong answer. All right, place both straps into your left hand. Right hand onto the hip to help balance you out here. And then opening up. Good, keep that balance in the hips and begin to find effort into the strap. Push out, like if your leg had to get a little longer, And then just ease off and give yourself a little rest. Get a little bit of effort. And ease off. A couple more times. Use your core engagement. Inhale that left leg back into the air. Continue to hold the strap in the left hand. Continue to really press that left hip down into the earth and move the left foot to the right. Just about as far as it feels comfortable or a little uncomfortable, but don't be in pain. And just breathe. You can find a bit of effort and ease here if you'd like. This one might be intense enough that you just want to ease into it and just hold it. That would be just fine. Excellent. Bring it back towards center and just start to find some circular motion here. It can be small, it can be big, whatever you like. Make sure you're still breathing nice full breaths. Go a little bit each way. Excellent. Bend the left knee. Take the strap off. Go ahead and just reach your arms up overhead from fingertips to toes. Nice big stretch. Let's breathe into the front side of the body. And then down the side body. So as you breathe, imagine the breath coming from your toes all the way up the body. As you exhale, imagine the breath leaving each nostril and circling back down the sides of the body. A couple more times like that, circular breath. The breath holds our life force, and as you're imagining the circling life force, you feel a little bit lighter. Like it's livening up your cells, speaking to you. Good. We'll go ahead and bring our hands onto our knees as we tuck our knees to our chest, and then take about 2 or 3 rocks up to seated. And then as you come up to seated, you can go ahead and come to easy seated pose. So we'll have our feet kind of crisscross applesauce here. And then binding our sit bones. Just drop your shoulders down. Then we're going to take a few shoulder rolls first to the back. So just begin to gently roll the shoulders back. And then forward. Good. And then we're going to squeeze those shoulders up by the ears and then sigh them down. Let them drop kind of quick. Inhale, lift them up. One more time. Nice job. Just begin to take the neck down, dropping the head towards the floor here, chin towards the chest. And just begin to feel the back of the neck stretch out. We'll roll from side to side. Gentle movement, right to left. Take it with ease. Don't work too hard. Don't press too hard. Just kind of taking all the tension right out of the neck. A couple sighing out breaths are just fine here. And so we all have this energy of pure, unconditional love within us. We don't really need to do anything except connect into it, realize it's there, utilize it. Maybe stopping here at chin to chest just to say to yourself, I am love, I am full of love, and I act in love. Good. Gently lift the gaze. Just take an inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead and clasp the fingers together here at the top. And begin to pull the fingers apart without actually pulling them apart. So engaging the lats a bit here, kind of like we're holding a big ball up at the top. And then take an inhale breath and exhale. Lean this shape over to the right. Good. Inhale back to center. And take it over to the left. Keep your right sit bone down. Yeah, come back to center. One more time. Maybe a little further. Fantastic. Bring it back to center. Flip the palms over as you stretch the arms out in front of you, and then pull the shoulder blades apart as you tuck your chin to your chest. Just pull the navel towards the spine a bit here and breathe. Round your back a little bit. Good. Inhale, take those arms back up overhead as you bring your shoulders back in line with your hips, and then gently release the hands all the way down to the mat. Very good. Let's go ahead and move on to our tabletop position, hands and knees. Then we'll bring our wrists under our shoulders, our knees under our hips, tighten the core, flatten the back. Good. Stretch your right knee back, or right leg back behind you rather, and touch your toes down. Excellent. Just breathe here and push back into the heel. That's the effort. Release the effort, come back, ease off. Push back into the heel, stretch the leg, effort, and then ease off. Let's do it one more time. So even though our unconditional love stays with us, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it takes effort to work out of that space of love. Let's go ahead and take our right leg out to the right. We're going to come to gate pose, walking the hands back towards you. The right foot is flat on the earth, toes face forward. And then just kind of stand up nice and tall here. Inhale, take the arms up overhead. Exhale, and bring your right hand palm face up open onto the right leg as you reach your left fingertips up and over, and you'll gaze down first towards your toes. And then on an inhale, we're going to peel open just a little bit so the gaze moves up towards the sky, the left shoulder moves back, and you open up the front body. Beautiful. Go ahead and return to a centered space, and then inhale both arms up overhead. Good. Exhale, take the hands down to the mat. You want to line those wrists and shoulders back up, and then slide the right foot back in. Stretch that left foot out. All 5 toes get to touch down on the floor here. Effort and ease. Press back and stretch the leg. Really push out through the heel. Ease back to a simple extended tabletop, and then press back. And come forward. And one last time. Excellent. Coming forward again, and then stretching the left leg out to the left foot down on the floor. Walking the hands back towards you and inhaling to stand up. So our right knee and hip are in a nice alignment here. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale to the left. No pressure on this left leg with your left hand. Be very careful about that. Gaze down towards your foot. And now peel your body open. Inhale. Rolling open a little bit, draw your right shoulder back and gaze up. Good. Come back towards centered, and then inhale both arms up, and exhale both hands down. Very nice. Moving that left leg back and coming back around towards simple tabletop. Just begin to move through a round of cat-cow here to open the spine, but we're going to keep the focus on starting from the base of the spine. So instead of making one large movement, we'll actually undulate from the base of the spine all the way up each vertebrae, and then start again, one little bit at a time. rocking and rolling here through cat-cow. Inhale, open your sit bones, belly comes low, heart comes open and wide. Exhale, pull that tailbone down, navel towards the spine, chin towards the chest. Now if you can close your eyes down here, this is a great place to really just connect inward. I love cat-cow to move with breath without too much effort. It's really quite easy once you get the hang of it. And it allows you some time to just be in flow, in movement with your body and breath. This simple movement, so good for our back, our shoulders, our chest, our hips, but good for the mind. Very nice. And then come back to flat back. If you happen to have the block, you can use that here. I'll show both ways. If we have the block, we're going to place our forearms down onto the block and then stretch our heart down towards the floor. We can adjust so that we get a nice big stretch through the arms and shoulders here. And of course, if we don't have the block, we're going to do a similar motion and just have the elbows out from in front of the shoulders here and stretch your heart back and down. And in this case, using the block is going to intensify the stretch. Sometimes we use the block to assist, making the pose more accessible. Other times we use it to intensify. Good. Let's take one more breath here. Good. And we'll press right back onto those hands. And place the hands more towards the upper part of the mat so that our arms have some length in them. I want you to notice here as we come into our down dog that my hand is not going to be pressing on the wrist as such, but rather my arm is elongated and not much pressure on the wrist, and that my fingertips grip the mat. So when we curl the toes under, and we begin to rise the hips into like an inverted V sort of shape here, and begin to feel the rise of the sit bones even towards the sky, and then the lowering of the heels. And then just go ahead and do a little bit of walking the dog here as you bend one knee and then the other. And we pressed out through the heel before in our tabletop. So now you press down through the heel, and you're going to feel a very similar but maybe stronger sort of stretch occurring. Good, and then just come to some stillness. All right, we're going to work into those hips a little bit today. So we're coming right away into a lizard pose. Drop the left knee down, step your right foot outside of your right hand. So you can work your right hand in about a hand print. Good. So this lizard pose, let's bring the left knee back a little bit behind the left hip if we can. If that doesn't suit you, that's okay. You can leave it right where it's at. And just begin to allow the shoulders to feel nice and strong here. And then set those hips down a little deeper as you square them up. You have an option to bring your forearms onto a block or onto the floor. Okay? If that's not going to be suitable for you, keep your hands on the floor. Now, where we're going to go is to really get into that right hip a little bit more. Do what is accessible to you. Make it your practice. So we're going to drop that right knee open and we roll onto the pinky side of the right foot. You should feel a nice big stretch there. Now you're welcome to take some very fluid, small movement if you need into that right hip. Beautiful. Go ahead and walk that sole of the right foot back down and the hands back onto the mat. And then move your right hand outside of the right foot and start to heel toe your right foot towards the left edge of the mat. And then just see if you can drop down into a pigeon pose here. So we'll be paralleling our right shin at the top of the mat and pressing into our left thigh with our left leg long behind us. And just breathe. Begin to stretch just the right arm about another handprint or two out in front of you. Draw your left hand underneath the right and then start to sink down your left shoulder towards the floor. Take your gaze over to the right. And then once you're there, stretch your right arm forward if you can. All you have to do here is breathe. If you need more stretch, you either find a little bit of small movement into your next kind of stuck spaces, or you simply press down more with your left thigh and flex your right foot a bit more. Find your breath. Good. Let's draw that right hand back in if we extended it. Press our way all the way back up and place your hands into down dog positioning on the mat with fingertips spread wide. Curl your left toes under and begin to lift the left hip and leg off the mat, and then the right side comes up and we meet back in down dog. And just feel how different your right side can feel from the left here. And we're going to take that right knee down for support to the earth and draw the left foot outside of the left hand, plugging the left knee and shoulder together. Maybe picking up, if you have the space that you can do it without unsquaring the hips, pick up the right knee, send it back just a little bit. Lengthen out through the spine, draw the belly in. Take a few breaths here just to kind of get acquainted with this shape and how it feels in the body. And then if it's available, you'll move the forearms on down to blocks or floor. On your next exhale breath, feel free. Let that left knee drop open, roll onto the pinky side of the foot. Press that pinky side of the foot into the floor. Now notice if you start to tense up too much in your shoulders here. Do you need to make any adjustments so that you can relax a little bit? We want to be in the pose with a bit of ease. Gently drawing that foot back onto the floor. Hands walking back up. Making room to move our left foot heel toe, as long as it takes. And then lowering that leg down, stretching the right leg back. Make sure the foot and ankle stay in a nice line. Your left heel is welcome to come in towards the hip flexor to give you some space. Just make sure your pelvis is nice and level here. Take a small extension of the left hand out and thread your right arm underneath the left as you drop down to your right shoulder and take your gaze over to the left. And once again, if you want to stretch that left arm forward once you're in the pose, definitely do so. I encourage you to look for where you feel the most stuck and breathe some love into that space. We hold tension in our hips, and sometimes that tension would be related to walls that maybe we've built up around our heart, around our love. We can tear them down a little bit just by breathing in, relaxing in, and choosing to let go. Acting in love towards ourselves first and others next. We must love ourselves well, and then we love others well. And we'll bring bring that left hand back in. And press away. Again, hands back to down dog position, curling the right toes underneath you and coming back into downward facing dog. And just pedal out the feet again. See how the experience is different from the first time we pedaled the feet now that we've stretched the legs a bit more and opened up our hips. Beautiful work. You're going to step the right foot forward. If you need to bring a knee to the mat to get there, it's the left knee down and then right foot forward. Otherwise, keep the left knee off the mat and come into a lunge position here. I'd like us to, right here with our hands on the floor, be able to sink the hips a little bit more, tuck the belly in, pull the crown of the head forward and square your hips. Now stay on the ball of your back left foot. Don't collapse the foot. Don't drop it down like you would for a warrior. Inhale and reach those arms up overhead. Find your balance. Find your crescent lunge. We're going to press into our right foot a little bit more firmly so that we can step like we're going to step forward. But as we do, our left knee is going to lift to 90 degrees, and then with control, we'll pull it back and come back to crescent lunge. Ready? Let's move. Lift it up. If you need a touchdown, that's just fine. And then pull it back. Try again. Lift it up. If that's too much for this gentler practice, just stay in the lunge. Perfectly fine. Good. Find your crescent if you've been moving and hold. Nice work. Release both hands down to the earth. Let your left hand sink deeper into the mat as you glide your right hand onto your right thigh. Pull your right hip back and tuck your belly in really firmly. Turn the navel towards the inner right thigh and then reach your right arm up and over. And just find some breath here. Beautiful. Good. Exhale. Bring that right hand down, step back. Downward facing dog, breathe. Move your left leg forward. We want that left knee and left ankle to line up and your hips to square. Stretch from your back heel to the crown of the head. Just find that length in your body here. Inhale, bring your arms up as you lift your chest over the shoulders, over the hips. Remembering that you don't have to go to the next phase. This is your practice. But if you'd like, we're going to press deeper into the left foot and reach the right foot up to about 90 degrees here, and then step it back. And do it again. Just feel that core engage, feel the balance begin to come in. And one more time. And set it back. Hold. Exhale, hands down. Root the right fingertips, left hand onto the thigh. Lengthen the body, and then rotate. Reach the left arm up overhead. Straight out from the shoulder, straight up towards the sky. And drop that left hand down, step forward, and take forward fold, Uttanasana. Rooting the feet down to the earth and allowing the sit bones to rise. The knees have a soft bend, and then push some weight into the balls of the feet as you draw the nose back towards the knees. If your hands don't reach the floor, this is where you can assist with a block to bring the floor up to you, or even just use your legs. Good, and again, block or no block. We're going to bend the left knee, place the right hand on the floor, and reach the left arm up into the air. So a small bend in the left knee. And switch. We're going to bring the left hand to the floor, bend the right knee slightly, bring the right arm up into the air. Good. Come on back to center, both hands down, both legs straight with just a small bend in the knees. And then keeping your head soft and your shoulders relaxed, begin to roll up one vertebrae at a time. So you want to take your time here and just kind of let the arms dangle on the way up. As you arrive, roll the shoulders back and down, tuck your low ribs in, place your ears over your shoulders to standing mountain pose. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and come into balance now, stepping onto the left foot first. Tree pose today, but we're going to play in our tree a little bit and see if instead of being as balanced as we can become out of balance and still feel that great love and sense of acceptance for ourselves, even when we've thrown ourselves out of balance and maybe the pose doesn't look like what we had thought. So step onto the left leg. We'll start with a nice solid pose though. Lift the right leg up into the air and then round it open. And you're just going to come to either a kickstand, a calf, or a thigh with the foot. But what you want here is to avoid the knee. So the knee joint from top to bottom should not be touched. And then squeeze the hips in together. Lift up a little bit on the thigh meat down with the glute, kind of making a clamp here. So we've got a nice solid base of support. And then our hands will be at heart center. So we've got this midline where we're pressing into thigh to foot, foot to thigh, hand to hand, everything pulling in. Good. So now we probably feel pretty solid. If you don't, that's okay. And some of us who practice a lot, we might be able to stand here for a very long time and not fall. And if that's you, I want you to try to just start to wiggle around and actually see if you can just kind of throw yourself out of balance. For one thing, this is strengthening, but another thing is it just challenges the mind from that state of perfection to a state of love and acceptance. Nothing's perfect. All right, and if you can't throw yourself out yet, you might throw your arms around, or you're going to look all around the room, and that's about to do it, right? So pretty soon we've come back. We're going to go pull it back in. Even if you fell out of the balance, bring it back. So even when things get a little crazy, we always know we can just bring it back around. There's going to be an end to that craziness. We'll come back to balance eventually. Lovely. Let's go ahead and gently release this pose, turning the right knee back to the front, and then finding our standing mountain pose. Now you might need to round the ankles around a little bit or sway your hips from side to side. Just kind of let it all go because we're coming to the other side. So rooting the right foot to the floor, feeling nice and strong and tall. Finding our midline, lifting up on the standing arch. Begin to find the same tree pose that you took on the other side. If there's any reason why it would be better for you to choose a different positioning on this side, then feel free to do that too. Hands will come to the heart, and we just find our steadiness to the best of our ability. So even if you're still kind of wobbling around a little bit, that's okay. And just play. Just, if it helps, you can smile and kind of even just make yourself laugh a little bit and just kind of play around and feel a little out of balance, a little crazy, a little wobbly. Laugh at yourself about it, love yourself through it, and then bring it back around to your steadiness. Good. And release. Come to standing mountain pose, and just go ahead and shake out those feet a little bit. Nice. Good. We're just going to take another little balance and strength breath work with movement, and it's a small movement. So I'll turn to the side. All we're going to do is inhale our arms up overhead, and as we do, we lift the heels. And then exhale, nice, slow, controlled movement, heels down. See what you can do. Inhale, lift up, nice and tall on those toes. Exhale, release. Feel those muscles in the feet strengthen and lengthen as you come up. Feel the calves working. Come back to the ease of standing and standing mountain. Inhale, put the effort in, reach up tall. Exhale, release. About one more time. Inhale, all 10 toes pressing into the mat. And release. Step your feet just a tiny bit wider. Good. Inhale the arms up overhead and exhale them down behind your back. Open the shoulder or the front of the chest here. Draw the shoulders onto the back and bring your palms to touch if you can. Knuckles are towards the earth. Bend your knees just a tiny bit. Don't lock them. Take an inhale and then exhale to fold. Slightly wider leg forward fold, letting the arms float up overhead if that feels good. If that's not the right move for you, they can just stay down at the back. Nice job. Little pelvic floor lift, little core engagement. Inhale. Rise back. Good. Now we step the feet even just a tad bit wider. I'll come back to face you. Toes out. And we're just going to imagine that we have a wall back here behind us that we want to kind of glide our way down. We start to slide down the wall, and you're going to want to work your feet around until you can come into a nice low squat. Now, if that feels a bit much, tuck your block underneath you, or you can come to what we call a farmer squat and have the knees pulled back and out and elbows onto the thighs. But if you can, yeah, we're just going to drop right down. Then we're going to lift the heart and bring the hands to heart center, Malasana, yogi squat. Back in those hips. Feels so good, right? And just breathe. You can put the weight back in the heels a little bit. Just don't fall over. Now we're going to stretch the right arm diagonally out to the right and take the left arm up into the air to the left and then gaze up towards the left thumb. Now you have the option to stay right here or take a bind, wrap your right arm around the right thigh, wrap your left arm around and grab the fingertips. Draw the left shoulder back and breathe. Good. Release. We're coming back to our center, taking the elbows in, snuggling them into our inner thighs and pressing open. And then exchange it out. Left arm down, right arm up. This is beautiful stretch. We don't have to take the bind. This is awesome right here. If you choose the bind, grip those fingertips and then try to lift your chest a little bit and roll the right shoulder back. And release. Very nice. Take your fingertips down to the mat. This is the fun part. And tilt forward as you lift your hips. And then work your feet back. Forward, toes forward for forward fold. Again, deepen this fold by putting more weight into the balls of the feet than you have in your heels. Find a halfway lift. So we inhale, maybe fingertips onto the shins or thighs. But what you want here is your back to be fairly flat. We could serve a little glass of tea, glass of wine, whatever your favorite thing is, right off your back here so your core is engaged. You reach the shoulders back away from your ears. Nice work. And then exhale, take the hands down to the mat and fold in nice and deep. Perfect. Let's go ahead and bring our hands all the way to the earth so you can bend your knees to get there. And then begin to step back to plank pose. So all the way to where your shoulders are over your wrists and your heels are reaching back. And you've got a nice long line with your body. Good. Drop both knees down and slow lower onto your belly. And go ahead and release your forehead down to the mat. And just take a few breaths. Very good. Now stretch your right arm out to the right, straight out from the shoulder, palm facing down, and then roll your right shoulder down to the mat. So it's a small, subtle movement, but you want your right shoulder kind of, if it can, the front of the shoulder touching to the earth. And then begin to roll over to the right, stacking your left hip on top of the right. You can let your neck just relax and take your head to the floor if it'll touch, or you can hold it up, whatever feels good to you. And you should just feel a nice stretch through the right shoulder. And if you'd like a little bit more, let's bend the top leg. Place the left foot behind the right knee, and then just roll your heart and chest more open towards the sky. Good, big stretch here. Now, if you happen to have really open front shoulders, some of us do, some of us don't, you can make one little adjustment to go even deeper, and that would be to rotate, turning your right palm face up, and then seeing if you could reach back with the left hand and find the fingertips clasping them together. All right, just about the time you're like, I think I've had enough on this side, we're going to release the pose. So wherever you came to, gently roll back the way you came. Make sure if you flipped that palm over, you flip it back and come back to your belly. Just take a moment. Wow, the right front shoulder feels so different than the left. So we'll try to even that out. Let's take the left arm straight out, roll the left shoulder down, roll onto your left side. Good, just stacking those hips up. Release the head down if you'd like, or hold it up. It doesn't matter. You could even stick a block or a blanket under there. Bend the right knee and set the right foot behind the left foot, and you can roll open even more, supporting yourself with that back foot. Or find the extension, so I'm going to roll back forward a little bit, turn my palm over, and then reach back. And then find those fingertips together. Now I notice one side feels a lot different than the other, so that's a good note. If you're in that same field where one shoulder felt so yummy and the other one's a little achy, just take note of that. Good. Unwind as slowly as you came. Nice job. Bring your hands in front of you. Stack those arms and then drop the forehead down. One of my favorite poses, just to lift the feet here and slide them from side to side. It releases low back pressure, massages those quads, and it just feels so good. Let it go. Nice. Then just come back to the center in a little tummy shavasana here. Just relax the legs down and just take a moment for yourself in this practice. Think of what it would look like for you to operate as a channel of love in the world in this time that we're living in. What does that look like for you? I've heard it said that all we need is love, and that love is always the answer. So we should take time to focus on cultivating our love energy. Very good. And we're just going to bring our hands back underneath the shoulders and press our way up towards hands and knees. Now we're going to take a little bit more tight balasana or child's pose. So draw the knees together, round your spine like you would for a cat pose, and then tuck the hips back. Now slide your arms back towards your heels and see if you can grab your feet. If you can't quite get them that far, that's okay. If you can, tuck your chin deeply into the chest and bring the top of your head instead of your forehead to the mat. So this is Balasana, child's pose, and you should feel like you're in a tight little ball. And why don't you go ahead and squeeze everything in? Effort, effort, squeeze, and then just let go in this pose into ease. inhale, breath. Keeping the shins down on the floor, just rise yourself up so you're sitting up on those calves, on the shins. Yeah, nice job. And just rock your head to the right. You can lower the left hand towards the floor. It might touch, it might not. Good. And then gently drop chin to the chest, go the other way, left ear towards the left shoulder. Place your right hand down to the earth. And then come back to center. So I'm going to come to center mat maybe just for the view, but we're going to step the knees just a little bit wider here, about hip distance apart, and then kind of hug the calves out and down and see if you can sit down in between your feet. Now, if that doesn't work, if your knees don't like this, you can come out of the pose for the moment. Just take an easy seated pose if you'd like. You can also sit down onto the block if it's too much to be all the way to the earth. Just see how that feels. The knees need to get a nice stretch sometimes. And then if it's available to you, go ahead and hinge back a bit and just come onto those forearms. Your hands can grab right by your feet. And look down the front side of your body. See how you feel here. Remember, we're just stepping our way through the practice, honoring our bodies, loving ourselves, doing what's right for us, no competition. If it's for you, go ahead and lower all the way to your mat. And we'll take a few breaths. Good. Wherever you came to, if you're all the way down on the mat, it helps to rise your chest, press into the elbows, and lift up a little bit. And then we're back to where we started on the elbows. Then we press into the hands, and then we lift up and send our feet to cross in the back and sit down and back. Good. And just bring those legs out in front of you and give them a nice shake and rub the knees a little bit, okay? So you want to give some love to the knees. And then if you can, reach on down and do the same thing at the ankles. Give some love to the ankles. Just rub it out. You can move your feet around. Yeah, good. And then we're going to squeeze all the way back up. So little squeezes, good for the circulation. Little squeezes all the way up. Nice work. Take those toes, lift them, put them in a straight line. Inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale, forward fold. Now, if you have a block and you're very flexible here, you might put the block at the end and grab the block. Again, assisting the pose deeper if you want. Otherwise, you can grab your feet, your ankles, your calves, wherever you can reach to. And then just find if you can lengthen out through your spine and breathe. If it helps you, you can drop your chin and just relax the neck as well. Just don't bring too much rounding to the spine while you do so. So natural rounding is going to happen. Over rounding, not so great. One more breath. Beautiful. And then inhale and come back up. Again, if you have the block, we're going to keep it down here at the bottom of the mat before we come to lie down. Go ahead and have it right by your feet and then lie down to the mat. Very nice. And just begin to rock the knees from side to side a little bit here. Some windshield wipers to whatever degree feels good. Just loosening up as you come down to the mat. Very nice. So we're going to take happy baby pose next. And it's a little bit of a silly pose, but happy babies are a little bit silly, right? So we're going to lift our knees towards our chest, but then out towards the armpits. So real wide. And then flex those feet up towards the ceiling. Reach up and grab your feet like a little happy baby. Stretch the feet apart and rock from side to side. You can press those elbows into the calves a little bit. stillness right here at the center. Good. Press the whole entirety of the spine down to the mat. And then draw the soles of the feet together. Butterfly pose, pushing the elbows now into the thighs, away from you. And we'll see about sending the pinky edge of the foot down to that block. And if you don't have a block, just down to the floor for Supta Baddha Konasana. The closer the block is to your glutes here, to your bum, the better the stretch might be. And then just let the knees fall open. Even if the feet are just on the floor, you're getting a great stretch. And you can allow the hands to rest warming on those hip bones if you'd like, or even just stretch them out away from you. Let's close our eyes and breathe. Use a mantra here. I am love. I give and I receive love. I am love. I give and receive love. I am love. I give and receive love. Very nice. Go ahead and slowly bring those knees back together. And shift your way into your final Shavasana, stretching your right leg towards the right edge of the mat long, your left leg towards the left edge. Take up some room. I want you to move around and get all your wiggles out. Straighten your clothes, whatever you need to do here to be in your most restful space. Soften your body. Come to your natural breath. And just as we relax in our Shavasana, guide you through this little love meditation here. Stay with me the best you can. In your mind's eye, I'd like you to picture somebody that you love a lot, that's easy for you to love. See if you can see their face. And just picture sending them out love. Say to that person, may you have peace. May you be safe. May you have love. Now picture someone you're a bit more neutral with. You don't necessarily love them in the way that you love the last person, but you like them. Maybe you don't know them that well. It could be like your hairstylist or your grocery store clerk, your banker, your yoga instructor. And then picture them in your mind's eye. And send them love. May you have peace. May you have safety. May you have love. All right, now picture somebody who you have not so happy feelings towards. Somebody that's hard to love, somebody that challenges you. See them in your mind's eye, see their face, and send them love. Say to them quietly in your mind, may you have peace. May you be safe. May you have love. And now just picture you as this beautiful love light, and just send your light and love out over the entire globe. Imagine it just kind of coming from your heart and shining forth around the world. Take a big inhale breath and a big exhale. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head from side to side, and then just gently roll onto your right side. Take a breath or two here, and then press your way all the way back up to seated. And just before we leave for the day, let's bring our hands on our heart, one over the other. Close the eyes and just see if you might feel your heart beating. The energy of love that's flowing within you. And with your eyes closed and your mind focused on your heart and on love, I'd like to share with you a poem called Soothe the Suffering of Your Heart. The author Samati Govinda says, unconditional love, an infinitely flowing river from source back to source, healing, purifying, nurturing, and supporting. Thankfulness is not enough. Gratitude is not enough. Humble prostrations are not enough. Embody love. The highest praise, the greatest gift, the needed offering. Soothe the suffering of creation with an infinite waterfall of love. Just feel that waterfall of love over you now. And take it with you and share it out to the world. Bring your hands back together into Anjali Mudra. The light and love within me honors and salutes the light and love within you. Namaste.